Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my kitchen. It's the 20th of December, still kind of a countdown to a few more days until Christmas. And I have decided to make something homemade that I haven't done before. So bear with me if I go just a little bit slow so I make sure I get everything right. My neighbor wants to come over and have some eggnog with my husband and I. And he kind of wants to start it as a traditional every year thing. So instead of the store-bought eggnog, I'm going to make it from homemade. And we'll see how he likes that. So just a couple of little things to do. Don't get scared. Don't go away. Walk with me through this, and I think we'll get through it just fine. Start with a pan on your stove to begin with. You're going to need two of them. Kind of medium size. I didn't have another one this size exactly, so I just brought out the two different sizes. First thing I'm going to start with is 2 cups of milk. Just regular milk that you have in your refrigerator. Start with that and put it in the pan. Then you're going to add 1 cup of heavy cream. Pour that in here. Heavy cream. Get most of it out. Cream's kind of expensive nowadays. Everything is at the grocery store. It's expensive nowadays. So we'll just get all of those little goodies out of that measuring cup here. Okay? And then we need some spices to jazz it up. So we're going to take a half a teaspoon of nutmeg. Some of that. Put that in there. And then we're going to take a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And we're going to take a quarter of a teaspoon of cloves. Now, this particular recipe that I'm using, it says to just whisk this up and keep your temperature on, excuse me, medium to low. You want it to get hot, but you don't want it to boil. You just want it to get nice and hot. That's the first thing they're going to do. The second thing, after this gets nice and warm, is you're going to take 6 egg yolks, which I already have in my little bowl right here. And you need to set them out, so I would do that first thing when you're making this. Just set it out aside so that it gets to be room temperature. That's very important. You'll need a little bit more sugar and you'll need some vanilla for this. And that's about all you're going to need to make some nice homemade eggnog. So we'll keep this going here. I'll turn my heat up just a little bit more just to get it started. Oh, and yes, sorry, you will need a candy thermometer for this recipe. Don't get scared off. Don't go away. It's okay. It'll all come out fine. So most important is to heat up the milk and your spices. Again, 2 cups of milk, 1 cup of the heavy cream. Any heavy whipping cream that you want to buy. Doesn't have to be the very best brand on it. So whatever you find in the store nowadays that you can get closer to the holidays. And half a teaspoon of nutmeg, a quarter of cinnamon, and a quarter of the cloves. Again, you're going to just mix this until it gets warm. Hot. You want it hot, but you don't want it boiling. And I always can tell with cold milk, because cold milk, when you pour it in and start whisking it like this, it's going to have bubbles. And you're not going to have that once it starts getting warm. Those bubbles kind of go away. You just want to incorporate all those nice little spices in there. I think eggnog is it just makes Christmas, doesn't it? Just makes Christmas. So many things make Christmas. After you get done with the shopping and the stress of all of that, because I'm not the only one that was stressed out over it. I had to take back 3 different things on family members that already have. So, you know, I'm getting down to where it's just going to be a gift certificate or money. That's all. You go out and buy whatever you want, because I can't seem to figure out what you need, want, have. And even though it's not all about the giving, I mean, it is about the giving, not receiving, I should say it that way. I would much rather do homemade gifts, I really would. There was a year I told all of my family, let's just make something for each other, something homemade. Well, that's a riot when you have all male figures in your family. They don't know what to make for a female. But I like to make homemade food, I really do. I like to cook something and send it to my neighbors. Today is my day to make sure that my 93-year-old gets her tin of fudge that I made. So I will make sure she gets that. I was gonna give it to her the other day, but she wasn't home. Okay, so now my bubbles are gone. And you can just test it. It's not there yet. Not there yet, so I think I'll turn it up just a little bit more. I said, I think this will be kind of special this year to have homemade eggnog instead of just the kind out of the containers at the grocery store. And if I wanted to buy that anyway to have this year, good luck on that because they were all sold out of eggnog. Even this early yet before Christmas, all sold out of eggnog. At different stores, you know, my grocery stores, Walmart. I did go to Sam's Club, but I don't like to buy that kind of stuff in a very large quantity because there's not that many people at my house anymore to go through that much eggnog. And I knew that I was buying it, or making it, I mean. I said, just want to test it. It's just very, very lukewarm right now, and I want to get it a little bit more than that. A little bit more. Anytime you make something from scratch and you can serve it to your guests, they're gonna think that's pretty special. They really are. They're gonna want to try that over some store-bought something. My hands are nice and clean, by the way. I always start anything. Nice, clean hands of washing. Everything's nice and clean when you start. Your utensils are all nice and clean to begin with. Even if they've been sitting in a holder for a little while, go rinse them off, you know, and wash them and make sure they're all nice and clean before you start anything. Okay. Again, I just want to get it just a little bit more so that, just a little bit more. It's taking its own sweet time today, it really is. Beautiful day out today, a little nippy. It's 38 degrees. Yeah, no snow. No snow in Colorado yet. Not on my end of the map. Nope. A little higher up in the mountains, they got a little bit, but we just haven't gotten anything yet. Just still kind of just warm, not the hot that I want yet. Just keep working it around with a whisk. This part you have to do with a whisk. Okay, that's not too bad on that. Okay, so while that's there, now you want to come over to this pan and you're going to add all of your egg mixture in here. Add the egg yolk. Kind of whisk that just around just so that it's kind of mixed up just a little bit. And then you're going to take a half a cup of sugar, but you're going to put it in 2 tablespoons at a time. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I'm going to whisk that up to make sure that is all nice and in there. Little different process to this recipe. 1, 2, and mix that. Pretty important that you get the sugar mixed in with those egg yolks. doesn't take a whole long time. It really doesn't. All good things come to those who wait. Isn't that the saying? That's pretty much the end of it there. That in. Okay, now we're back to this over here of the hot mixture. And what they want you to do is, take that out of there. Take this out of here. Now we want to ladle in the hot mixture into this mixture and start stirring that up. Seems kind of different, doesn't it? Okay, that gets stirred up. So just little increments of getting the hot milk nice and incorporated into this egg yolk mixture. Definitely need 2 hands. Definitely. Tell you what, it smells really good with all the spices in it already. So you just keep pouring your milk in here and stirring it into the egg mixture. We're getting down to the bottom here. So it doesn't take too long. You really want that mixed in, like so. And it has bubbles on the top of it also. Okay. Get that bottom part here of the mixture. This recipe comes out the way I think it's going to, then I'll probably use it every year instead of buying the store-bought. Because I can tell you right now, it's smelling very nice. Very, very nice. And I'll go ahead and get this second one ready here. Okay, now that that is into this mixture, then as strange as this seems, we're going to pour all of this back into here now. Pour it all back in. And this is where you want to now put your candy thermometer in. And your candy thermometer has to reach 160. Stick that in there. Keep kind of stirring it around with your whisk. Now this is where you can turn up your fire even just a little bit more, but not to the point of scorching it. Keep whisking it. Keep an eye on your thermometer. Get the steam part off of mine so I can read it here. Mine's climbing up, but not quite there yet. Now, I can tell right now with the egg yolks, it's taking on maybe a little darker color than what it would if you bought it store-bought, you know, in the containers. Doesn't bother me any. Doesn't bother me a bit. And we're just going to keep stirring that till we get it up to that temperature, 160. And once it gets up to the 160, then of course we will be taking this off the heat. So I'm going to pause a minute while that gets up there because it's taking a little bit longer than what I thought. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and my temperature now is at the 260. So what we do now is we take out the candy thermometer, we take it off the heat, and then I add a half a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to be adding my Madagascar, the good flavor vanilla, in here. Let's see, half a teaspoon of that. And we'll whisk that up, turn the fire off. Now, this is going to make 4 cups of eggnog. And this is what the eggnog looks like. It's dark in color like this. Not real dark, but you can see that very well in the camera, but that's what it looks like. And I'm going to let this cool down, and then I'm going to put it in a real festive little Christmas container that I have just for eggnog. And I will pop back on and show you that just as soon as this cools down. It just smells wonderful, it really does. Okay, I'm back to show you that the eggnog has cooled down, and it's still in my little pan right here. And I always like to put eggnog in some festive little container, whether you have a great big punch bowl that you want to put it in, which I do have, or many years ago, I found this little cute guy, which is a little boot. Isn't he cute? Now I would take this eggnog, and I'm going to fill the boot with enough just to show you here that it has little matching little boots to it. And so when guests come, you're all in the mood for eggnog, and you just pour it from the little boot into the big boot into a smaller boot. And I like to add on top of mine, I get this all the time. It's called Grenada, I think it's called, Grenada nutmeg kit. And in the kit, you've got the whole nut, first of all, whole nut. But down inside of here is the little file. And so I would just take this, get a nut, and then you're just going to shave off. Well, you don't put the whole thing down in there, but I did. I dropped the whole nut in there. That's all right, accidents happen, huh? Take this nut again here. Take the nut, anyway, and you shave off a little bit of the nutmeg. If you don't have it like this, of the real thing of the nut, then you see you've got it in there of the nutmeg. Oh, wow. Oh, this is so much better than the store-bought. This is creamier, richer tasting. Wow, I think I'll be making this every year. I really do. Now, as this sets up, as far as when it chills down, then you go ahead and put it in the refrigerator, and it'll get a lot more creamier, just like what eggnog is supposed to be, which is great. If you don't have the cute little containers like this, then go ahead and just ladle it in just any kind of festive Christmas. I'm going to put it in this and show you, because I'm going to add one more thing to this. So I'm just going to put it in one of these. You've seen these everywhere. And I'm going to add a little bit of whipped cream on top. And again, we'll try this without dumping it in there. Probably needed to get a bigger nut here. And stick that on top. Look at that. Doesn't that look festive? This little guy I bought this year, I thought he was adorable to have either hot chocolate, or or apple cider in. The bottom, you put little candles, the little tea candles in there, and it stays warm. And in the top, you can put marshmallows in here. And then on the side here, of course, these mugs are way too big. I'll take the little one that's usually for my granddaughter, and the spigot will come out that this will be nice apple cider. So no matter which you have, whether you have apple cider or this wonderful nutmeg, oh, so good. Try making it from scratch this year. You won't be disappointed. If you want to make a double batch, that's fine too. I wouldn't recommend doing it all at once. I would make it, let this one cool down, and then start all over and make a new one. Now, of course, with eggnog, you can add alcohol if you prefer to have a little bit of rum or brandy or some whiskey, some Southern Comfort whiskey. Just a tiny little bit, truly, in the nutmeg if you like that. Don't overpower it where your eggnog, you know, you can't taste your eggnog anymore. This was a real treat, and I think my neighbor will like it a lot. He's getting a great big tin of my fudge to take home after having the eggnog. So here's to a glorious Christmas. From my kitchen to yours, this is Cooking with Carol Diane. You can catch me on my YouTube channel or here on Facebook or my website, cookingwithcaroldiane.com. Either way, happy holidays, and I'm on to the next video to show you. Bye-bye now.